guys, I'm Heidi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my non-fiction November wrap-up part 1. This month has been a roller coaster. There have been books that I've really liked, and there have also been books that I really haven't liked. But I've already finished more non-fiction books this month than I normally do in a year, so I'm quite pleased with that. I'm doing this in 2 parts because I have quite a lot to say about some of these books, and I thought it would make the videos easier to watch. So today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in the first half of November. So first of all, I finished No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. This was a collection of speeches and it was extremely repetitive. It's a wake-up call, and I think it comes across in a very powerful way when you listen to Greta's speeches. But reading them does not have the same impact, especially since she doesn't really have much advice to offer to people who want to become more environmentally friendly or more environmentally conscious. So this book isn't really giving any advice and it's not offering any solutions, but I do think that Greta should 100% be applauded for what she's doing. She's a very inspiring person and she's clearly very passionate about this topic and raising awareness about it. So I didn't really enjoy this, and I'm not sure if the book format is the best way for acquainting yourself with Greta's ideas, but I do think this topic deserves a lot more attention and a lot more action than it's been given so far. I then finished reading Solutions and Other Problems by Allie Brosh, and I had such a difficult time with this. So Allie Brosh is known for her engaging and quite funny comics, but there was absolutely nothing funny about this book. This book was so depressing even when the author was trying to be funny. And not much of it was actually funny. I mean, and I'm not even entirely sure if it was meant to be. The humor was rare, and when it was there, it seemed very forced. There was a bit where she was trying to create this funny story about a terminally ill dog, and it just didn't sit right with me at all. Like, it felt wrong reading about it, and it definitely wasn't funny, and I didn't really understand it. Like, I almost DNF'd the book after that. I know that in recent years the author has gone through some traumatic stuff in her life, and I appreciated the honesty, and I appreciated the way she is letting people know that it's okay to talk about depression, and it doesn't have to be pretty. It can be really raw and honest, and that's okay. However, I don't think this is for someone who is in the middle of a difficult period in life and is looking for some comfort, because there is definitely none of that here. So yeah, unfortunately, this was not for me. I then finished reading Ayoade on Top by Richard Ayoade. This was Richard Ayoade's funny take on the 2003 film View from the Top, starring Gwyneth Paltrow. In that film, Gwyneth Paltrow wants to become an air stewardess. She then becomes one, and that is mostly the whole film. There is some drama involving her and Mark Ruffalo's character, but they managed to reconcile at the end and there's a happy ending. This was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. My copy was only about 140-ish pages, but I am still quite amazed that Richard Ayoade managed to write a whole book about a truly terrible film. So yeah, I don't really have that much to say about this. There were funny bits, and overall I did enjoy this, but I do think that listening to this on audio would have probably been a bit better because Richard Ayoade narrates this himself. If you're a fan of Richard Ayoade, then you will probably like this book. Then I finished reading The Lost City of Zedd by David Grann. So this whole story was like the real life version of Uncharted, you know, the PlayStation game series, and it's a very good example of a non-fiction book being just as thrilling as a fiction book. I recently got the same feeling when I was reading The Spy and the Traitor by Ben McIntyre. I finished The Lost City of Zedd in a few days. I practically devoured it. So in the 1920s, a British explorer called Percy Fawcett ventured into the Amazon to find an ancient but lost city which he called Zedd. But then he disappeared along with his son and his son's friend. Over the past 70 years, there have been many attempts to find out what happened to him and if there really is a lost city of Zedd. And the author of this book, David Grann, decided to retrace his steps and see if he could figure out what really happened. There was a lot of interesting insight into how archaeologists back then viewed the Amazon and how that has changed. Back then, it was believed that the Amazon was a death trap and that there was no way that an advanced civilization could have thrived there. Fawcett, for all his own prejudices, believed that that is absolutely what could have happened. He was convinced that a monumental city was present in the Brazilian Amazon, and he became obsessed with finding it. And that obsession only grew after Fawcett had taken part in World War I and seen the horrors of it. So he went on several expeditions, but eventually he disappeared. And it was so exciting to read about his adventures. It read like an adventure story. It was so exciting. And it was so interesting as well. We still don't know for certain what happened to Fawcett, although we can probably guess. And what was especially tragic about this story was that Fawcett wasn't wrong. He found Zedd, but it wasn't what he expected it to be. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. And then I finished reading It's the World's Birthday Today by Flake. I have a feeling this is going to be my favorite read of the month, unless something truly extraordinary happens. I was surprised, and then I was like, why am I surprised? I think I was a bit unprepared for how well written this book actually is. This was so good. So this is by Flake, who is the keyboard player for the German band Rammstein. I really like Rammstein. I mean, I listen to metal in general, but Rammstein are something truly special. The quality of their music and their shows, their commitment, their stage presence, I mean, it's definitely something very special and very distinctive. I've seen them live before, and their shows have definitely been one of the best that I've ever seen by any band. And if you've seen any of their shows, you'll know that everything from the music to the clothes they're wearing, to what they're doing on stage is so well put together, and their timings are so sharp. And their latest album is just a masterpiece. I mean, there was a time when I was listening to this non-stop. Anyway, this book is not what you might expect. So this is basically Flake's account of one day on tour, including the show itself. But it's written in a sort of a stream of consciousness style, and he also transports us into the past. He talks about the very beginnings of the band, his life in East Germany, the boring bits, the exciting bits, the behind-the-scenes bits. It's very introspective, it's very down-to-earth, and at times it's quite humorous as well. I listened to this on audio, and for the most part the narrator did a good job, although he kept making a mistake that English-speaking people tend to make quite often when pronouncing German words. He was pronouncing the CH sound as K, and it's not a K sound. So for example, one of the guitarists is called Richard. It's not Ricard. And there's lots of Rammstein songs where that sound appears, but the easiest example is probably Ich will, I want. It's not Ich will. And it's okay if you don't know this, but you would have thought that someone would have told the narrator at least, because the book did have quite a lot of German words, phrases and place names thrown in. So yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately my German is not good enough anymore, or otherwise I would have read this in German. But anyway, yeah, I love this book, and it gets all the stars for how much I enjoyed this. And it reminded me how much I love Rammstein. So these were all the books that I finished in the first half of November. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know how your November reading has been going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!